right?
Kilted Balls.
Woo! That's like the best one yet.
Yeah, in person.
I know. Can you see it? We're like literally
Oh
together.
my
Look,
gosh.
we can touch.
Yes, it's amazing.
It's pretty much crazy, people. Crazy. Hopefully, you all had a great week. It is Tuesday. Welcome, Kilton.
Yes.
Welcome.
Oh, it's good to be here. Good to be here. Glad we could do this in person, and I think it was a good idea to do it together rather than trying to muck with everything. As we
Yeah.
found out last time.
The last time we were together, it was a little weird and a little weird echo. No echo this time.
Yep.
And we're together, and that's sweet.
And if you're watching this, our camera, we can kind of look at the camera and kind of like look like we're looking at each other when we're talking. But this is me looking at the screen, and this is me. We could talk like this.
So, this is me looking at the screen. This is me looking at my face. Maybe if I look at your face, does it look better? If I look
yeah,
at
it looks
face?
like you're looking across.
So
it's, if you're just listening to this, never
the
mind of all this shenanigans. But yeah, we got to figure it out.
It was down low before, but
we'll see our extra chins. We're getting
100
gain 30 pounds, lose 30 pounds, gain. Classic. Thank you, John Levis, for that one.
That was great.
So yeah, I'm here. I came up to visit, so brought the family and everything. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of fun.
Nice. Yeah, we love having you here. It's a great time. We're supposed to be getting lots of work done, and I think we've done a good amount of work here.
I think so.
And some not work.
Yep, we've been having fun as well.
We
did get to go to the zoo, which is always a great time.
Oh my gosh, everybody I think I've told that to has been jealous. We went to the Detroit Zoo, and it was awesome. It was a good time. I had a good time.
And excuse me, sorry, he's making some noise.
So
no, we just
notice we get disconnected even when we're together in person. Kilted still has to go run around.
Here, I didn't realize. Hey.
Look at this. Totally distracted right here.
I was just making sure.
Look, yeah,
okay, never mind.
Right there.
Yeah. Someone is here.
Well, we're here.
No, but Banks was outside. He was outside unattended.
Tell the listeners who Banks is.
Banks, everyone knows who Banks is.
Do you guys know who Banks is?
If you're a new listener, Banks is my European Doberman, who is slightly troublemaker, does like to chew, and he was kicked out of the room because he and Maggie, who is Brian's little one, they do like to play together and make a lot of noise. So we wanted to avoid that. But he was just making noises that I was concerned about. So it was he was talking to somebody, which is okay. Yes. If it was
speaking of, oh my gosh, I was so excited. We have a listener. We didn't know we had a person who listened to us, and they told us that they were.
We have a listener, yeah.
Well, they didn't say they were a fan of the podcast.
She said she was a listener.
She said she was a listener of the podcast. So yeah, big shout out to Stacy.
Yes, Stacy, thank you.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I would love to interview her. I think I agree with you. I think she can have a lot to share, a lot for people in possibly similar situations or similar backgrounds. Yes. I think she has a lot.
Oh my gosh, if we just took like the barest snippets of her story, it would take 2 episodes. Probably.
It's someone who we've known for a long time, which is helpful as well.
Forever.
And so the fact that we know a lot of aspects, but there's things that we don't know, and things that she could share, and definitely things that I think could help our listeners and our friends. I think so.
Like, especially people who are trying to. Stacy is a great example of somebody who is always growing. Right? She's always growing. She's always changing. She's always doing stuff. Yeah. And I think that's amazing because so many people in this life, they like hit a spot and they're like, no, this is my life. I guess this is who I am. From now on, this is it. Right?
Yeah. I think that's one thing that's really, really awesome.
It's about her. Freaking amazing. And like to give people that story, like how do you become this person, or how are you this person that is always growing? And is it like at first I thought it was kind of accidental, like she just accidentally was growing, which is cool. But now like it's too constant to not be on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't know what drives that. If it's purposely from, yeah, like you said, it doesn't seem to be an accident, but is there something that happens in her mind where she's like, okay, I need to make this change. I need to make that change, or I'm just going to do something different, which is either way, it's pretty awesome.
Right.
I'd love to know that.
Oh my gosh. Stacy, we got questions. We got questions. I know you don't feel comfortable necessarily being on camera, which I don't understand why. You're beautiful. But you know, get on camera with us, tell people your story. I think they'll be amazed. Her husband, I think, has a great story.
I think he does too. I would love to have
oh
Chuck
my
on
gosh.
here too.
If you could get Stacy, that would be the coup. Right?
If you now Chuck and I go way back. I mean, this
forever
is
back. Forever.
Yeah. From riding the bus together in 5th grade. He was in 4th grade, you know, all the way through. So
and yeah. Chuck and I, we started in hatred, which is normal for my relationships. Most of my relationships, yep, especially younger, start in a spot of hatred for one or both parties, right? Not as much me as we've talked about, but it's often reciprocated, and has now turned into really good friends and has now been totally not. So it's gone through the roller coaster, which sometimes that happens.
You never know. It could circle back around, and like where he's at right now as a person, I'm super happy for him.
Oh my gosh.
You know, to be a friend and to, you know,
so
we don't
proud
talk a lot, but seeing on Facebook and hearing through Stacy, like what's going on with him.
Right. And you can tell him, Stacy, I take credit. I think the anger I've induced in him made him make changes.
You brought out the best of him.
I brought out like he was so mad at me that he became a better man. So yeah,
that does work out. I think partially that might be true.
It's probably not true at all, but I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna take it.
But yeah, and then something fun that's come up, and I can't remember if we talked about it on here, but he's training for an ultra marathon. And I don't know, that might be something in my future. It's something that I think about a lot. So I think it's something that I need to do.
I've thought about it a lot. I've thought about doing marathons a lot. My problem originally with like marathons is I felt like I had to train for a marathon, right? And now I'm kind of to the point in my life where I'm like, you know what? I could just do a marathon. I don't have to train.
I did a half marathon without training.
Right. And I've done lots of miles without training, and it sucks. So, but my point is like, if you're training for a marathon, I forget how far I got, 14 miles, 15 miles for my long run, maybe more than that. I don't know how high. I got a long way, maybe even to 20 miles, because I think I was doing 14s on not hard days.
Okay.
So I got pretty far into my training, but it takes so much time.
That's the hard part.
It does. And like I felt like I got injured, I think is what happened or something. And so I had to stop training. I can't remember at all what happened. But like as soon as it got done, like I realized how much of my life it was taking over. Because if you go run 14 or 20 miles, let's say, and even if you're going like 10 miles an hour, which is kind of slow, but if you're doing 20 miles, that's 200 minutes. That's 3 hours plus, right? And so 3 hours of your day is gone. And then you have to recover.
Yeah.
And so like I would always be worthless, right? Like I would go for the run in the morning, go out at 7 or 8 and be back at 11 or 12, and then I'd get home and be like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna do that and then you're like excited to be like running around and doing all sorts of stuff.
Right. And some people are, but not me. I was like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Right. And it wasn't bad. Like I found at the time, and again, this probably is bad, right? But like I think at the time we were having kids and we had little ones. And for me, it was like a nice, relaxing time where I got to listen to my music. I'm like, this is so rough listening to my music, And I liked that. And I liked listening to books on tape while I ran. And so it was like a nice kind of getaway. But that's totally rude to do. Right. Nowadays, I probably could get away with it now.
Yeah.
But now I don't want to.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, 3 hours. I can probably do something else.
Those are the things that I go through like thinking about training and doing stuff like that. But like we were talking about before, I mean, yes, you have to be able to have the endurance to do that, but standing and is a huge part of it, to be able to stand for
Yes.
12, 24 hours. It's a lot to do. People don't really think about that. And in my past life, I would stand for that. Stand
Right.
all the
Like if
time,
I
all
was
the
going to
time.
do it,
Move
now would
around.
be the time where I'm
Yeah.
used to standing a lot.
Mhm.
Right. But it's still something I think I could do.
Yeah.
The other thing I was thinking about the other day, because I was listening to people like Jesse Itzler, who
Mhm.
we've referenced multiple times, and he runs these ultras and he was training. And I thought, that's so damn expensive. Because here's my stupid thought of the day. Being somebody who does running stuff a lot,
Mhm.
like I have a recommendation in general that shoes should get 300 to 500 miles on.
Mhm.
Well, if you're running, we'll just be stupid. If you're running 10 miles a day,
Yeah.
1 month is 300 miles.
Yeah.
Right. So like he was talking about how every weekend he was doing 40 miles.
Mhm.
I'm like, dude, you're blowing through the shoes. Like
Mhm.
you're just blowing through them.
Yeah.
Right.
And even that's even getting good shoes, like putting that many miles on them.
Yes, that's a good shoe going there.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, you're blowing through shoes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know how many, like my kiddos, when they're in training are going 40, 50 miles a week without too much hassle. And so that's 200 miles a month, right? So that's every 2 months you're buying a shoe. And that's like little kid training.
Yeah.
Like if you were going big kid training,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be.
And do your students replace their shoes throughout the year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Some of them don't, right? Like some parents are like, oh, only one shoe a season. But
yeah,
if they're running a lot,
yeah,
then they will. Then they will.
That makes sense.
Crazy.
It is. It would be. It'd be expensive, like you said, with time and also, to have the right equipment and everything, so you're not getting hurt. Because that's important. If you're training for that and you are wearing your shoes too long, it can lead to other issues.
Oh yeah, yeah. I always tell my kiddos, you can always tell when your shoes are bad because you'll feel it. You'll know your knees will hurt, your ankles are hurt. It'll work its way up, so you'll always know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so and the other thing with, like I said, with me is always the time. Like nowadays, the time. Like I don't think I would mind if I was able to do something during the time. Like maybe if I had a book, right? If I was into a book and reading books on tape, okay, that would be nice.
Yeah.
If
because you're doing something
right, but it would be something that I was already doing, so it would like take the place.
Yeah.
But like right now, I'm not reading a book.
Yeah.
So I should be. But
for me, like I think that once this next stage of life is starting, I think that it's something that I'm going to look into, whether it's on the Peloton or out running miles. Yeah. But it would be time where it's like I don't mind getting up early, and I get up earlier than the family. Yes. So I can get in a couple hours before people start getting up.
Well, and one of my goals this summer was I had been running the last few weeks a little bit, or just doing something in the morning. I thought, you know what? I'm gonna just set my alarm for 7 all summer. I'll get up at 7. It's probably like an hour before anybody else, and I can go and get a run in or go do something, right? And then it's not interfering with anything. If I read a book or listen to a podcast, I feel like it's okay. But so far, we're 3 days in, 2 days into summer vacation.
That's true.
And I've been getting up at like 8.
We have been staying up late. We've been playing some Rocket League. We played some Civ 6, which was a good time.
Well, and the other part is I'm just like, I want to sleep a little bit extra. And then I've had meetings each day. So I'm like, okay, do I really want to go? I got a meeting at 8:30. Maybe I'll just sleep in. So we'll see. We'll see if that changes when you go back.
Yeah, that's true. So what does this have to do with everything we've been talking about? I think a big part of it is that having the exercise and that it's I mean, not that you necessarily get to that runner's high, but just doing that exercise and moving your body, or whether you're just stretching or doing this. And even Gina started doing some stretching, and she's really noticed like she's feeling so much better by just doing these little things. And I think that ties back to like even like the 1%, what we talk about. You're making these small changes if you're doing things, because it's easy to get, for me, it's easy to get into a a more sedentary lifestyle.
Right.
Like this, I go and I'm not loading trucks anymore, or I'm moving hundreds of 50-pound boxes every week, multiple times, and doing this and that. I'm moving a few of them maybe, and I'm packaging orders and I'm moving those. And I haven't been running lately where, there was a time when we started the podcast, I was running a ton.
You're running so much.
Doing all sorts of different things. And so that's just I look at it for myself. It's the ebb and flow in life. But when I'm doing more things, I can definitely feel the difference. Like just the walking and disc golfing that we've been doing, like that makes a big difference, even doing those little things. So listeners, like if there's something, especially if you can enjoy what you're doing, like Ball is talking about, if he's listening to a book and he's running, it's almost like killing two birds with one stone. You're doing something you really enjoy. You're into that book, but you're also moving and doing all that. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to do it. And I really just need to, go pick a book to read and do that, and life would be good, right? Like I would run and, I'd make time for the book, which is good.
Yeah.
This came up just recently where like Amy, who's been interviewed before, right? She was having like a miserable day. And she came home and, we try to walk, like you've noticed that. I'm like, you're having a miserable time. She's like, yes, I'm miserable. I'm like, let's go for a walk. She's like, I don't want to go for a walk. And I'm like, well, you kind of need to go for a walk. And I'm like, I've got to go for a walk. Let's take a walk. She's like, I don't want to go for a walk. And the girls are like, Mom, maybe you need to take a walk. And she's like, I don't want to go for a walk. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go for my walk. I got to get a walk. And she's like, I don't want to go for a walk. And she's like stomping around, putting her shoes on. Here goes on. I'm like, are you going for a walk? Yes, I'm going for a walk. Wait for me. I'm like, okay. And seriously, within 2 minutes of being on the road, different person, right? Just a totally different person. We get done with the walk and we went a pretty long walk. I was like, here, we'll just walk to the corner and back, right? But we did like a huge loop, and she was just happy and bubbly by the time we got back. She came in, she was going, I'm like, don't you feel like so much freaking better? Like so much better. And she's like, yes, it makes me feel so much better. And then another friend I was like talking to about that, I was like, man, and they were like, walks are so healing. And I'm like, they're restorative, right? Just a little walk. And I feel so bad for people who don't get to have that experience, right? Like they're injured or whatever, but it is so restorative. Just getting outside, breathing that air and just taking a little walk. It heals a lot of your ills. It heals a lot of your ills, I think. And if you're doing it with a person, I think it's even better because you like, some people need that alone time too, right? Like they're like, I'm with people all the time. I need to recharge my battery. But like for me, I'm like, like I don't get to spend a lot of time with her because we're always juggling everything. We're juggling kids. I'm like having like 20 to 30 minutes of us time where there's nobody distracting us because we're going for a walk. I'm like,
that's awesome.
That's powerful to me. No, she's probably super annoyed by it, but to me, it's powerful, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. That's super awesome. And does help. Walking is super important. We've been doing that a little bit, especially since the weather's changed.
Yes, us too, right? Once the weather changed, it was so much easier.
Yeah.
Once it got as warm in North Carolina as in the winter, we've been out.
See, there you go. Yeah, right? See, you made a choice.
Because today, right now, it's like as warm as North Carolina in the winter.
Yes, it's so. No, yeah, it's I don't know. It's weird. It has been chilly out.
Yes, it was like all 60 degrees, which like notice everybody was like in coats and stuff. I'm like, man, you guys all got acclimated fast.
It happens.
And I probably should have, right? Like I think by the end when the rain hit, I was like, all right, I'm a little chilly now.
Okay.
Like I probably should have put a jacket on because the rain like tipped it.
Yes, once that rain started, it was definitely
for sure. Yeah, so I think that's where this all takes it back to getting out, doing something active, whatever you can do active. It's more to be stressing that mind and the body and doing that, and kind of like we talked about with our friend Stacy, like always trying to grow yourself. There's so many different ways, right? But I think you don't want to be stagnant, right? Like animals are stagnant, right? Like that's part of the problem is they just live their little lives and they're not going for any improvement. They're just trying to exist, right? Like once they become the top of the pack, they're at the top of the pack.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I was in a meeting today and we talked about how, some of us, and I don't know if it's just how we are, but we're always trying to go higher, go more.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how good you are, you're trying to get better.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, it's not that way.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, or if it's something different they hit.
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for contentment, my friends. Like, I'm content
Yes.
with what I'm doing. I love my life, but I'm still, for some reason, driven to grow.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I want to grow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we're not talking about like, everyone has to take over the world.
no.
But growing in your life and doing different things and just stretching as far as, maybe just doing something uncomfortable.
Yeah. Well, and that was something, and I think I was researching Jesse Itzler, and I think I said that before. Like, he does something out of his comfort zone every other week.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
And that makes all the difference, right? And I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Because our time is limited for most people, right? Not for me, but the rest of you. So you probably want to get after it.
Yeah.
Right? I would think. So, yeah.
That's super awesome. Exactly.
Heck yeah. So listeners, tell us what you think. We love your feedback. We love it when you're messaging us. Yes. We love listeners. So if you have people who are doing runs, they want to give a listen to us and hear us babble, I think that's always awesome.
Oh, and we did Stacy said she started from the beginning. So she's gutting through. You don't necessarily have to start from the beginning.
There are some bad episodes back.
Some of our stuff is definitely dated. And it's fine. If you went through that and you're, especially, it was almost like reading the Bobby Hundreds book. Hearing his aspects, because he was writing blogs during that time, was kind of put into a book.
Yeah.
But remembering those different things in NFT and crypto land in the 2021, 2022, it was fun. It was fun to go back to that. And if you are into that, then yeah, it's worth listening to all of them.
But someone like Stacy, she's not into that at all.
No, not into it at all. But the interviews, those you can go back to. Those were all awesome. But yeah.
Okay, so here's my thought. And I think we'll only hit 50% on this thought, but talking about interviews and stuff, because I really think we're missing something by not doing it. We want to interview Heather anyway. We should drop a line to Heather and Jesse and say, when can you get on? We're going to do a Zoom and we're going to chat and talk and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if we get Jesse.
I think Jesse has a fun story too. I guess these are all people that
I'm saying if we get all four of us together, that might be a great little episode.
The last time we had the five of us together, it was amazing. If we could have recorded it, it would have been amazing.
Oh my gosh. You listeners, it was a great time. Great time. And this weekend, we're having a huge shindig at my house. If you're one of our listeners, feel free to come over.
Yep.
Because that means you probably know where I live. Right?
Yep. So yeah, if you know where he lives, definitely swing by.
Yeah.
I'll be here.
We'll be here. Last time we had a shindig like this, I think we were up until 1 a.m. in the garage talking.
I'm not looking forward to driving the day after that, but I will.
Yeah, you shouldn't drive the day after that. You should take a nap. You have nowhere to be.
I gotta be home.
Someone else can be home.
You gotta send orders.
Have somebody else send orders. You've got other people now.
Figure it out.
You got other people. So you can take a little nap. A little nappity nap. So it'll be a great time.
It'll be awesome.
Well, anyway, friends, hopefully you liked the message today. You liked listening. We appreciate you tuning in.
Yes.
Thanks for it. Subscribe, follow, retweet, all that jazz, and stick with us. This is Ballbuster signing off.
Kill the Dragon Jared. Love you all.